this is funny and it's going to sound funny to all of you, but I actually had said to Daddy, I'm willing to divorce you.
I don't think it's funny. I think that's real.
It's real.
I've
It's
been
real.
there.
It's behavior, bitches.
Hey guys, it's Liat. Welcome back to Behavior Bitches podcast this week. I'm super stoked with today's guest. I know I'm always stoked, but like this one I could speak so highly of. She is a true angel, if I could explain in any way. And I often wonder how someone could create something so amazing like me. It's my mama. No, but truly, I actually also wonder, how did I come from this woman who was just like so pure, kind, patient, gentle, like just like a sweet, compassionate soul? I mean, I guess I do have like, I do carry compassion, but I mean, I definitely get that from you.
You are very, very kind, very, very compassionate, but you also have a lot of raw in you that I don't necessarily have.
And that comes from dad.
That comes from Dad. Yeah.
Thank God, if I was all dad, it'd be a lot. Anyways, my mom is here today. For those of you guys who don't know, I know I speak sometimes about my brother Gull. And so today my mom is here. I realized, like, how have I not done? I've brought on every other family member, my sister, my dad. I have not brought Gull on. Gull would actually probably love it if I brought him, because he loves saying behavior bitches.
Yeah, he'd say that.
Every time he sees me, he's like, you behavior bitch. You behavior bitch, jackass. I should bring him. So then I'll officially have everyone on. But today I have my mom on, and I realized like we're in a stage of life now of my brother being older, and we're talking a lot about like what's our plan for Gull.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a very like emotional time for our family. And so I was like, I bet you someone else is struggling with this too. Like, of course I should bring you on to talk about it.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's all very well. You always talk about kids, little ones, but carries on until adulthood. You're still worried and concerned, and you need to do certain things.
Right. So before we get there, I want to just, usually I use this opportunity to pair with guests. Pairing meaning like, build rapport, whatever. I think we've had 35 years of pairing.
Yes.
But I'm still going to ask you some of these things for fun.
Sure.
To see things that I wouldn't know. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A teacher, school teacher from the day I was born.
High five, mama. Same. Okay, next. What kind of kid was I growing up?
You were, I'd say, a fun kid. You weren't very difficult. You were very difficult when you were a baby. You cried and cried and cried nonstop. I could not have another kid for 5 years. I was
6.
so scared of that crying.
Oh, I guess you made him in the fifth
But
year, and he was born.
You were fun. You were fun, Linky. Like you'd take on anything. You'd do anything.
Like my personality. Do you think it's similar to what it is now?
A little, yes, but in a very cuter way. You wore these little like bottle top glasses.
They were so thick.
With your little eye that went to the side, and you had
I had a lazy eye.
You had a lazy eye. You had a very deep voice. It was so cute hearing you talk.
Your friends used to literally be like, Liat, say this. And I'd be like, can you come to the sandwich shop? It was like, they used to like, at the time, be like, can you say this for me? And like, I didn't realize why.
Yeah, it was your voice. Cute, adorable voice.
Seeing what I'm doing now, would you have expected this out of me?
Yes. Now, yes, I would have. I would have expected you to do something with children because you were amazing around children always. From a young child, from being young and then growing older and older, you always were something for children. So this is for children, although you're for adults now. I just think you've used what you can really well.
Thank you, Mama. If you had a day totally free, 0 responsibilities, what would you do?
that is hard for me. Read and have someone cook for me. That would be the best. Not have to worry about cooking and just have a meal prepared and a chef come to the house and I'm just telling him, make this, make that. And just, I think I kind of don't know what I would want on a day off anymore. I've forgotten that sort of stuff.
Right. It's like, also, I mean, for me, even if I have a day off, it's like I don't know how to chill. Like I'm always feeling like I have to do something.
Me too. I think that comes from our grandmother,
Yours?
Gaga. She was always doing, and yes, she chilled.
I also think because dad is so intense that like we feel like we must all be intense too.
I think so.
Like he's so intense.
Yeah, but he loves to see me chilling and doing nothing. That's the funny thing.
No,
at this
but
stage
at
of my
his,
life.
at his time, he's like, I want you to watch this show with me now.
Yes,
which therefore is not
yes.
chill because
I've got to stop everything. Yep,
exactly. She's
Yep.
so sweet. What's something you're grateful for lately?
my health, big time. Because now that I'm 65 and I'm a senior, or I'm 66, sorry, I'm a senior, you definitely start feeling aches and pains and stuff you didn't before. But I'm being sent for certain tests that my doctor says I should have. Like I went one for this morning even for calcium numbers in my heart, like a sort of tiny little CAT scan type thing. And when I'm filling in the papers, I'm literally saying no to everything that most people are filling in at this stage.
Oh, me too. Because I sometimes feel like I have so many health issues. Like, but then I'm like doing the form and I'm like, I'm not checking off anything.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I'm so grateful for that.
Me too.
Right now. Good, Lynx.
Good.
Mate, stay that way.
Yeah, I will. Okay, so now that we've connected a little bit, let's get into today's topic. Let's let everyone know. How old is Gal? Gal is my younger brother.
Gal, he's 29 now, so he'll be 30 in August.
Are we going to throw him a party or something?
I would love to throw Gal a party, but you know what parties are like for him, Liat. He gets very upset when he's the star of the show or any concentration on him.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sing happy birthday, gets very, very upset. If you give, and another thing with Gal that's very cute.
The gifts?
You give him a gift and he looks at the box and he says, I like that one. I like that one.
Like if you get him a transformer, he'll automatically like whichever one he didn't get.
He didn't get. Yeah.
Oh my God. Remember when he got that bar mitzvah? Someone came by at his bar mitzvah, brought him a gift card.
A Target card.
A Target gift card.
It wasn't a Walmart card. He went straight to our shredder and shredded the gift card.
And said, I love Walmart.
I love Walmart. We're not going to talk like him all the time.
Like, we're allowed to, though, because he's like our fam.
Yes.
Like it's just like so Gal. There's like Galisms.
Galisms, exactly.
So I want to know, at what age did you know something was different with Gal?
I never noticed anything other than when I went to the pediatrician for his 1-year checkup and I took him at 13 months. He wasn't babbling and he was not walking by himself, but if you held his hand and walked with him, it was with a wide gait. And she said there's some connection there. And she said, I think he's going to need to go like for an MRI to a neurologist and certain things. And I would have not known anything if she had not said anything at that point. Because Gal did babble originally. He did babble. And also at that stage, 29 years ago, we didn't get the checklist of what they do and they don't do, which I do know they do now. So you could really do very early intervention. But I didn't notice anything.
Like when she gave you that thing being like something's off with like the gait and this, did you take that seriously? Like I'm worried or like,
I did take it actually with a pinch of salt in a way, because if I spoke to my friends or told anyone, they said to me, don't worry, they just over trying or something, or, don't worry, it'll all be okay. That's kind of how I took it then.
And that was at what age?
13 months and then maybe a little older at that age.
And then why do I feel like he was diagnosed at 3 or something? I guess that's the age that they could give a diagnosis.
They could give a diagnosis sort of later. They have to find out, because at first they tell you it's just delay. They
Right.
call it a delay.
Did he get services then, or?
Yes. I started a lot of therapies with him, and he was put into ECI, which is early childhood intervention, a classroom at a school, but it's for 2 and under or 3 and under. I've kind
Okay.
of forgotten now.
By the time he was diagnosed at age 3, were you like, "Oh, yeah, he's different than other 3-year-olds?"
Yes, for sure. He wasn't talking at all. He wasn't making sounds.
He stopped babbling.
He stopped the babbling completely, and I don't remember what age. He just did not do what typical kids do. I think when it really came clear to me when he was diagnosed was when I went overseas to Australia for my nephew's bar mitzvah,
Mhm.
and my brother's a pediatrician, and he kept like an eye on Gull. And he said to me then, he said, Melanie, I can absolutely tell you Gull has got autism. And that's when I really believed it. I think it was like age 4 rather than 3. And I will say, my brother did say to me, and he'll be the biggest blessing in your life. And I thought, easy for you to say thank you very much for nothing.
Like, you were kinda pissed off when
I
he
was a
told
little
you?
pissed off that how does he know? He doesn't know what I'm gonna go through.
Like, when he told you that sentence, like, do you remember, like, where you were standing? Like,
I know it
was that like a defining moment?
defining moment. I remember we were in his apartment in Sydney, and he told me, and we went for a walk. I remember exactly where we were, and he told me. I think it was not such a defining moment because I knew something was different and something was, you know, going to be different with Gull, but he told me, and it actually felt good to know.
Oh, it did?
For me, it did. Yeah. Because I was in the unknown, and that's even more scary than when you know what you're dealing with.
I think that's with a lot of things, like, with, like, any struggle. Like, even, like, with my lupus diagnosis, when I finally knew, "Oh, okay, it has a name," but
Mhm.
anything, like, when you could name it,
Anything. Yeah.
you're like, "Okay, now I could read about it, now I could do this." But obviously, like, what was it like back then? I mean, now, obviously, I'm highly immersed in the ABA world, and
Yeah.
I could say what I remember seeing was very different, but what was it like for you? Like, also, autism was not as well known, like, no one knew what it was, I don't think.
You never heard anyone talk about it, quite honestly, at that stage. You just didn't. And it wasn't so like rampant and around so much. You just sort of were told what to do, and you did it. All the therapy, stuff like that.
What therapy?
Speech, occupational, physical therapy. I was told by at that point you went to a behavioral pediatrician, it was called, was the one who would really tell you what to do, not so much your pediatrician, your regular
Right?
pediatrician. And she said, expose him to as much as you can. I really tried. I put him in Gymboree. I put him in the little gym. I put him in.
You were just running everywhere with
I
him.
was running everywhere, doing everything I could for Gull. It was very, very taxing on me and anxiety ridden because Gull was a biter at that stage. And wherever we were, he would bite a child. And
Be a pissed off mom.
I'd have these moms that were angry. I'm apologizing. I mean, he's a biter. He doesn't have any language, any sound. That's how he expressed himself. I understand what the other moms went through. I wouldn't want my kid bitten. But I was like, if I tell you within an inch of Gull and another kid every time that he couldn't bite them.
Like, you were always, like, on edge around other kids and
I was so on edge all the time around other kids. I actually was very anxious taking him everywhere because I knew what might happen. And one day I went to Target. I didn't have Gull with me at the time. And I heard a kid crying, and my shoulders stiffened, and I went into this mode of total anxiety. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't have Gull with me. Why am I doing that? And at
and
that
I will
point,
tell you, that is straight up behavior. That is conditioning.
it was conditioned. I
Like,
was
you were conditioned that
conditioned.
if a kid was crying, it was from Gull.
Exactly. And at that point, I actually made the decision I'm not taking him to these places because it's actually worse for me. It's too much for me to handle. I'd rather not go where I'm just more nervous than anything else. So I stopped then. I can't remember what age that was, though. It was pretty young, pretty by 5 or something like that.
I, like, remember, like I remember one instance at, I feel like it was, like, at Chuck E. Cheese or something, like, climbing up, like, the thing or something. I
That's
was
it.
there.
Like Chuck E. Cheese is the one I couldn't remember.
Oh,
Yes.
I feel like he, like, bit a kid or something. But the harder part was that, like, Gull was the cutest kid. He looked totally typical. So, like, to
Exactly.
someone else, it's just like, your kid's like, an asshole, like, do something.
Mhm.
It wasn't like you could see the
Absolutely.
child has, like he was, like, a gorgeous little boy.
Gorgeous little boy, so cutely dressed. He didn't have his sensitivity yet at that point.
His sensory stuff,
So
yeah.
the sensory stuff, gorgeous dressed, looked like any normal little boy.
What were your immediate fears, like, when you were like, "Okay, so my son actually is
Mhm.
different and, has autism."
Yeah.
Gull also does, by the way, have an intellectual disability.
Mm.
Um, but what were your immediate fears for you and Gull's future?
Your fears are more for your child. I didn't think of me at the time. I was just worried. What is he going to do? What is his life going to consist of? Like, will he go to college? Will he be able to do different things? Will he have friends? That was a concern. It was all for him back then, the fears.
Wow. That's because, like, I remember, like, as a sibling being more, like, sad about things, like because, like, obviously when he did get it, like, like, start having, like, his, like, sensory issues and whatever, things like that, being like, "Oh, I wish my brother, like, could dress cute," or, like, like, "Why is
Mm-hmm.
he always naked around my friends?" or
Yep.
things like that. But, like, you as a parent, now that I am a parent, I'm like, that's gotta, like, make your world go crashing down. Like, I, like, already, like, always am talking about, like, "Oh, when Kobe has a girlfriend, like, I'm gonna have to, like" if he comes out of the bedroom or something, I'll be like, "Is he not the coziest?" Like, I'm, like, imagining all these things, like, his wedding, like, am I gonna be cool with it? Am I this? Like, you're like, it literally must, like, shake up all your
It does. It does. But someone wrote something incredible. I don't remember who, and it's probably being told to parents with kids on the spectrum today. Imagine you getting on a plane and you think you're going to Holland and you've read about Holland and you know what you're going to do in Holland. You're on the plane and they say, you're on flight so and so, such and such to Italy. And all of a sudden you have to rethink. Okay, so I'm not going to Holland, I'm going to Italy. I'll see different things, I'll have different experiences. And that did make a lot of sense to me at the time.
wow. Hey, campers!
Yeah,
Hey, campers!
yeah,
Are you ready for summer camp?
yeah.
The Snapper Collective is here. It's coming May 30th till July 12th. You don't want to miss it. So go ahead, get your bug spray, get your highlighters, get your sunscreen. It's time to pass the test. So, like, your life was obviously different having a child that you were, like, chasing after and worried about. I imagine, like, friends were, like, taking their kids out on play dates and, like, using it to socialize with each
Absolutely.
other.
And I remember I tried to do as much as I could with you and Talia, and if you were going to Burger King, I'd go and bring Gull, but I couldn't sit like the other parents while the kids are just climbing up there and all that sort of thing. I was with them
What feelings
all
did
the
you have
way.
around that? Like, were you, like, jealous of the other moms or, like, resentful?
No, I think it becomes so ingrained that things are different. I suppose I wasn't jealous. I'm trying to think. No, mm-mm.
Because like, you could never just, like, sit and chat with the moms while
No,
your kids play.
never, never.
It's still like that in a sense. Like, anywhere you are, you're always like
I'm still on tenterhooks a little bit with, I don't know, with certain just things he might do, although they're
I mean,
so few and far between now, the
but they've
behaviors.
changed.
They've changed, but I'm not totally relaxed when I'm with Gull anywhere, to be honest. I'm just not.
Even at home, actually, when I think about it, because like, his food consumption is a big problem. That's,
He's
like, a big part of your life.
Oh, a big part of my life is his food. It's difficult. He wants fresh food like every day. He won't eat leftovers, and he knows when they're leftovers. Someone said, just put it in the microwave, put something different on the plate.
Wait,
Just
even
he
even if it's, like, something
knows.
he liked the day before?
Yes.
Like, if it's his favorite, like, macaroni and cheese you made or
Maybe
homemade?
that sort of thing, but he wants new meals. His life is food.
Like, that's his joy.
And, Gull's at a place now, the most wonderful day hab there is. But when they ask me, like, what's his favorite thing or whatever, and I say, eating out, whatever, they said to me 90% of the individuals that go there, food's very important to
Like a high
them.
reinforcer to
Yeah,
them.
it's a high reinforcer. It's something to do. They enjoy it.
I mean, I know with Gal, like, even times that you've gone out of town and he stayed with me, like, the first thing in the morning, like, the greeting in the morning is like, "What's that dinner?"
What what yeah, what's that dinner?
What
Exactly. He goes to our pantry constantly. He's always thinking of food, and he could be lying down, I mean, just he spends most of the day, besides that he's at day hab till 2 every day, watching TV, something on YouTube, or playing on a Switch, and he's going to that pantry all the time for stuff. That we put a lock on our pantry.
right? Like, when you're not around, otherwise he'll just eat
Oh,
every single thing
eat
in it.
and eat and eat. He doesn't know that you've had enough, and it's boredom. A lot of it is boredom too, He doesn't have friends. He's on his own, but he's happy in his world of technology. He's very happy.
Right. It's harder for us to watch. I think
Yeah.
also, like, what was that like when he was younger? Because, at a certain age, like, I even know right now, Kobe in his class, like, his best friend in the class is a little boy who's on the spectrum.
Hmm.
And the boy he has a shadow in there all the time. And that's why when I told you the other day that I wrote
Yes.
a note to him to give his mom,
Yes.
because I was thinking of you, like, how happy you would be if Gal was invited to someone's house or something when he was younger, because like, the other kids were inviting each other over. So, like, I wrote that kid's mom a note being like, "Hey, we would love to have Adam over," because I remember your experience of seeing Gal with, like, being included or friends. What was that like?
Oh
Especially, like, as
gosh.
the kids get older and realize, like, "Oh, wait, he's not the same as me."
You know, as a parent, you have to have a very thick skin. When Gull was like pre-K age, and he was put into it was a public school, but a class specifically for kids with disabilities. And what they would do is they would have the child in there most of the day and then put them into the mainstream class for a bit. Well, one day there was a field trip for these kids. I went with, and I was a little girl was sitting next to Gull, like she was going to be taking care of Gull almost. Like that's the impression I got. And I spoke to the mom, and she said, yes, her little girl, I can't remember the name, always talks about Gull and, loves Gull and everything. I thought, wow, that's great. So I said, well, maybe we'll have, let's just call her Sarah, come over one day. She said, okay. I sent this woman texts quite often, you know, can Sarah come over and play? Of course, I was going to be there all the time. And there was always an excuse. And one day I actually went to the school for something, and the little girl piped up to me, my mom says I can never go play at Gull's house. And I thought, wow, that mother was stringing me along all that time. There was always an excuse. She knew she would never allow her daughter to come to our house.
That is so hurtful.
So that was very hurtful. And then, Liat, you probably remember Gull had a friend, Chris on our street, whom he met in kindergarten. They were absolutely best friends. They did everything together. And he was always invited to Christopher's parties and everything. So when he was already, then Gull was already out of public school. He wasn't with Christopher anymore. And Christopher had a party and Gull went. And we noticed that after that party, every time we'd ask Christopher, can he come over? He'd always have a stomach ache every single time. And it got to the point where I said to the mom, I think this is like, you would know in behavior what it was. He
Like-
would get that stomach ache when he was invited over to Gull's house, because I think a few children at the party that day said, what are you friends with this kid Gull for? He can't talk, he can't play with
He's
you.
weird.
Yeah. And that was hard for Gull, not so much even for
No,
me.
but it was hard for us to watch
but
too, I
for
remember.
Gull, that was
first
terrible.
of all, is negative reinforcement. He was trying to avoid.
He was asked,
Because we also always passed his house. It was 3 doors down.
exactly.
So it was like consistent reminder of like, I want to go Chris' house. I want to go Chris's
Mhm.
house. And it's like it was very hard.
It was very hard, and he couldn't understand it.
And I think it was so painful for us to watch too.
It was very, very painful for us. Yeah.
Wow. How did Gaal being different affect your relationship with Dad? Like, was he equally as vested?
In the beginning,
I mean, I know the answer.
it wasn't great. You do know the answer. In the beginning, he wasn't very invested in it. I mean, it takes every bit of your energy, your day, your every brain cell working with a kid like this. And Daddy decided there was something else going on. A new school was being established, and he was involved with that
It's like a
every day.
hobby.
It was like a hobby, because Daddy, his work, as long as he was near a phone, he could carry on what his job was, his profession. But he could also just, be anywhere, anytime, and he was there all the time. And this is funny, and it's going to sound funny to all of you, but I actually had said to Daddy, I'm willing to divorce you.
I don't think it's funny. I think that's real.
It's real.
I've
It's
been
real.
there.
It's real. It actually was very real, because I was in the trenches with Gull and with you and Talia, and I felt a lot of resentment towards Dad. And I got to the point where I said, you know what? It will be easier for me to do all of this without the resentment. I'm doing it anyway. Let me do it without the resentment.
I know that feeling very
Yep.
well. A feeling of if I'm doing it alone anyways, I'd rather not have someone standing next to me while I'm alone.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
I'd rather feel alone when I'm alone than alone with someone.
Yeah. That's
And when
true.
I analyze it now, as a BCBA, I kind of look at the thing that Dad was very involved with was helping build this Jewish boys
Mhm.
school here. And I wonder if it was some kind of grieving for him as well of okay, I had 2 girls. I finally had the boy that I thought I was going to do these boy things with and this and
Yeah.
that. And it's this is not what I signed up for at all. And I wonder if he was working at this school for these, or not working at it, helping build this high school of these boys who are growing to study Jewish things. The dad would have loved for
Dad would have
Love
loved
for
that for
Gal.
Gal. For his son, that would have been a dream for him to go to a school like that. And you could be right. I never thought of it
Like, I just,
that
like, I don't know if I just, like,
before.
thought of it now. It's like it was like, maybe that was, like, grieving for him
Could have
in a
been.
sense. But, like, we were all pissed off because we felt like he was, like, always putting that as a
He
priority.
was always putting them first, ahead of you girls, even.
Hell yeah, we were just, like, annoying girls,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep.
Do you feel like that's changed over time, your relationship?
Absolutely. I think it can make a relationship either break, and you hear of that a lot, which is a pity in a way, because as the child gets older, you can manage it more, you actually become closer for that. That's what's happened with us.
Right? Because, like, I know, like, things people don't think about. For example, like, now, even though Gal is almost 30 and you're 66, and so that makes dad 68, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
like, you're still, like, can't be like, "Oh, let's go on a trip here," or "Let's go," like, you guys have to be together. Like, for you guys to go somewhere and stay in, like, a hotel room alone is, like, rare.
It's very rare, absolutely. And something I wanted to bring up, and I don't want to be so this negative Nancy, but this was a few experiences I've had.
Mhm.
When your child is somewhere where you think they're gonna be fine, they're in a specific school or specific camp for children with disabilities.
You're paying for it at that
You're
level.
paying for it. You'll pay anything for a little bit of respite and peace of mind. It For me, it hasn't worked that way. When Gull was at a very special school, Vanguard, that was there for kids with disabilities or else kids that were just very different, quirky, needed a different school. He went to the bathroom once, landed up another child also going
He
to
was,
the
like, 6 or
bathroom.
something?
I think he was like 7 to 8,
Okay.
maybe even a little older, whatever, anywhere up to 10, say. They sent him to a bathroom. Two children that were autistic and nonverbal landed up in the bathroom together. That boy had a slap bracelet, and Gull wanted it. And they started a scuffle over it. So Gull bit the child. So I get a call from the principal, which I was getting quite a few times because he bit or this or that, but it was never so serious until I get to the front desk, and usually I just had to take Gull home. They say, Roslyn, the headmistress, is in the office. And the penny dropped for me then. This is more serious than usual. And she tells me that he cannot come back to the school because he bit that child. She says to me, Melanie, if you had all the money in the world, I would not know where to tell you because I've never seen such a carnivorous child. She was so petrified of them being sued that, and they did not have any adult supervision in that bathroom. She was so petrified. And even the teacher, who really loved Gull, she couldn't admit fault at all because she'd lose her job. So there I'm told to go take him to a place where their children, who are usually foster children, and they cutters, they run away from home, they try make set things alight. She sends me there just because I was so not knowing where to put him, what to do. And so that was one time. I sent him to a camp in New York for 4 weeks.
I mean, if someone would have called, like, my kid carnivorous like that when I have a special needs kid who, like, can't defend themselves,
Yeah.
I feel like I would bite her.
In retrospect, I wish I would have. This
Like,
was a woman who was meant to be able to handle these kids that are different, and she couldn't because of the fear of being sued. And I couldn't, of course, do anything because my kid did bite.
how did that feel inside when you hear something like that?
I was devastated. I really didn't know what to do. It was nearly Christmas time, so there was going to be a Christmas break, and I didn't know what school Gull would go back to. We found something called it was
Focus on the
called
future,
Focus on the Future, which we put him in.
which I ended up like interning at.
And Linky, yes, you interned
I'm
because
Linky, by the way.
Linky, yeah, you're Linky. You did a lot of special needs things because you had a brother like Gull at school, and you did some sort of rotation where you went to that school, and you said to me, "It's all smoke and mirrors. They don't have teachers that are even qualified.
They sit a kid at the same desk, all they're doing the same puzzle
The
over and
same
over.
puzzles." And I'm thinking, wow, okay, they do take them to a Dollar Tree that's just like in the same parking lot. They taking them to shop there, so maybe they teaching them him a little bit of something. And you said, I'm wasting my money and time, and that's when I put him back into public school, which was the best thing then, for sure.
Guys, I was consulting at like age
Absolutely.
15.
Uh-huh.
I was like pissed off. As women, like it's often discussed like the invisible mental load that we're carrying. Like in general, I'm saying whether you have
Oh,
a kid with
yeah,
special needs or not. Like
absolutely.
I am consistently like, oh, what do I need more of? What about this? Did I sign this up? Did I get Kobe in enough classes? Is it okay? Do I think he's spending enough time like with his dad? Am I right? Like, how did you handle carrying the mental load of like an individual like go? Like also like when you're feeling like you're being like rejected in places that should be supporting you. Like
That happened like a few times,
I remember
to
you being a
me.
wreck.
Well, when he went to that camp and he did bite at another kid because his usual counselor was away and whatever, past actually one of the adult counselors' children who were at the camp. And they call me that I have to pick him up. And like soon, how we had to
Oh,
pick
you'd
him
like
up.
get like the next day to like
Exactly.
New
The next
York or
day,
something.
fly up to New York and different things like that. And from that experience, I spiraled downhill. I couldn't put a sentence together. I literally couldn't talk because what my first thoughts were, if these people cannot keep an eye on my son for 4 weeks, how am I going to be able to do it where it's every day 24/7? That was the response I had. And that's when I started therapy for the first time in my life. I literally couldn't talk after that experience. You asked me about the load that I had. You get used to it for sure, but you never think you are doing enough. You never ever think. And I still to this day think I didn't do the right thing maybe for him. That just would have made the difference. ABA was not around as much, not at all, in fact. And someone from New York, happened to move here. She had done ABA in New York, and
She knew some stuff about it.
and she knew about it. Oh, I don't know if she even was a therapist
No,
as
she was. She
such.
was like had like some
Okay,
training.
okay. She had some training. She said she would work with Gull. She worked with him for a little bit, and she said, no, he's not a kid for ABA. And to be honest, I was quite happy because it would have been all personal out of pay for me, out of my pocket. There was no such thing as insurance covering ABA. I don't think they knew about it at that point. As it is, I would pay for anything that would be to do with Gull.
Whether you had the
So
money or not.
whether I had the money or not. I went on courses myself in New York. I did a lot of stuff. Anything. Snake oil, as they call it. I would have bought snake oil if I knew it would help.
You know, also just like doing like being in the ABA space, like I think of like my own experience of like what they were doing for behaviors that Gal had when you're younger. Like I remember some of them actually being like traumatizing to me. Like I remember a very overweight woman coming and literally like sitting on Gal. Do you remember this?
Yes, she might have been actually the teacher at Vanguard, that school I
Came to
went
the
to.
home.
She came to our house because
Like they're like, we'll sit on him until he calms down.
I think,
Which is like the most like
yeah,
anti like
yeah. Yeah.
And like watching it on the outside was so painful.
Yep.
And like that would never be done now.
And Liat, we had that recently when Daddy and I did go overseas. And I had his ABA person,
A BCBA.
a BCBA, who couldn't work with him anymore. So she could only look after him because he wasn't a client anymore. And we were going to go
She loved him.
overseas. And she loved him. She would take him out almost every weekend somewhere. He adored her. And I thought, now I can go. And I actually, for the first time, felt, whew, I can decompress now. Not going to be called. Well, after the first night, I think, or second night, when we were overseas, we got a call from you. And she didn't tell me that she had put him in some kind of a constricting thing. It's called something. I
Like
forgot.
yeah.
Whatever it's called.
CPI, hold, whatever.
Yes. And Gull pulled her hair and bit her because she was in that hold, and the reason being she would not let him watch TV beyond a certain time. And if that's one thing, if you tell Gull there's no TV or no internet, he cannot cope with that at all in life. That's something
So
he
it's like
just
something that
can't.
you realize is not worth the argument.
Yeah.
Like one of those
Yep.
things that you're like,
Yep.
what's worth it for me?
And
you had told her, oh, he goes to bed at 11. So she took it like so literally.
she took it literally. And yeah.
When she called me with that, I was like, my brother's doing that?
Yeah.
Pulling hair? Like it was like, because that hasn't been a thing for so long, like any of those aggressive behaviors.
I can't remember that behavior. He was probably a little kid when he did that even. And there I was. And thank
And there
God
I am,
for
like
you.
in the house. Like
Yep.
I go and she's crying, like locked herself in a room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, behavior bitch to the rescue, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, thank God you have some training and you have experience
The
and
crazier thing is I had like taken like I think I'd already like taken a sleeping pill. And I get this call and I'm
and
like,
then all of a sudden you're up, right?
I'm like, all right, I'm on my way. And then not only that, let me tell you not funny, but like on the way out. So she's like crying, all traumatized, like God pulled her hair, whatever. At that point, I didn't know about the hold. And I'm like, you know, I'm stirring. I'm like, Gal, in my car now. I'm getting your stuff in my car. On the way out, he's like, you asshole. Like to her, like saying, I'm like, Gal, stop talking to her. She's like literally crying there. Get out my house. You get out. And I'm like, Gal, to the car now. And he's like, touch me, you fat. And I'm like, and Gal's also like overweight.
Oh my gosh, very much overweight.
So like, I'm like, all this is going on. By the way, these are like the things these like awkward things that you could be dealing with the kid with, you know.
You
never know. Gal's definitely called the people's like scars on their face or pimples.
Oh yeah, if someone's got something, he's gonna call to it because he's just there. He's real.
He's saying what we all are thinking.
He doesn't have filters. We thinking it, but we're not saying
Yeah,
it.
but that was like that whole time. I literally was like on this sleeping pill, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, let me text you. Like, you could go relax. Like, I'm so sorry about this. Whatever. And then he's like just knocking her lower on the way out. Like, get out of my house. Like, it was bad.
I mean, I'm surprised he didn't calm down enough to not even do that anymore.
No, he was like, I'm out. And you know when Gal's knife does something annoying, he'd be like, ha ha.
Yeah, he was like that. Ha ha ha. You fat. Ha ha ha.
You fat. Ha ha ha. Like, you have to laugh or else you cry. But like,
yeah.
I kept him for the rest of the trip. They stayed, but it was just like, okay.
It's behavior, bitches.
Are you a BCBA now and you are sad because you hate your job? Are you thinking, I worked so effing hard and here I am, dreading Monday? Well, you're not the only one. We get that message all the time and we decided to do something about it. Welcome our newest baby, Pair ABA by Study Notes ABA. What is this? Well, we pair you with jobs that you actually don't hate. Imagine that. Imagine going to work on Monday and being excited about it. Imagine working somewhere where you're appreciated, you're paid well, they're doing ethical practice, and you love what you do. Well, that's not impossible because we have formed Pair ABA, where we talk to clinics that we would actually want to work at. We're not going to send you anywhere. We are assessing these clinics to see, are they doing the good work? Are they not telling you one thing and then having you do another thing once you sign on? If you're concerned that you're not happy or you're feeling unsettled where you are, don't settle. Don't settle in relationships. Don't settle in work. Realize your value. Let us help you find a job where you are happy. All you need to do is head on over to pairaba.com. The response effort is low. Fill out the form so we can help you find job options near you. If you're a clinic and you think you're good enough for us to place at, also head over to pairaba.com. And we will see, are you good enough for our badass BCBAs who we protect? Go check it out, pairaba.com. Love you, mean it. The protective mode never ends. Have you been
Never
protective?
ends,
Like, I know
never
we were at
ends.
dinner the other night. Me,
Yep.
you, Kobe, Dad, and Gal.
Yes.
And Gal is like, it's like a packed, like, little restaurant
Yeah.
and like a kosher restaurant. And there's like 2 kids sitting at the bar at the restaurant. And Gal's like looking like that they're looking at him.
Yes. He was playing on his Switch all the time, and then occasionally his eyes would go there. That's why I looked there, because his eyes were going there. I wouldn't have seen it. It was like behind
Did he say
me.
like they're looking at me or something?
He was like, and then he'd go back, and then at one time he actually gave a beautiful smile. So he thought they're looking at him too.
Right. And so my mom, like, immediately in defense mode is like, I noticed they're looking at him too. Like, what? Because he's different? And I'm like, and I was like, whoa, Mom, what's going on? You're on edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I realized that Kobe's back was facing these kids and he was playing a game on his iPad. And these were like little religious kids who have no access to TV and stuff.
Exactly.
So I'm like, Mom, no, I think they're looking at Kobe.
Yeah, they were looking at the iPad,
But like,
not
you're
at
immediately
Gull.
in protective
I was
mode.
immediately going
Like,
to.
what are they looking at?
What are they looking at?
Like, because he's different?
Yeah. What do they see that's different? He's on a Switch. Every kid's on a Switch or phone or something.
Right. So, but it's like you're always like feeling like you must, like, I can't, like, as like, you're protective of your kid.
Totally protective.
And you feel like they're innocent in this world.
And the funny thing is, you can make any insult to Gull's face, and it's like nothing. Nothing. He doesn't get it. But the
But that hurts you
parent
more.
gets it.
Right.
The parent gets the insult.
So
Yeah.
I know, like, a topic we've been talking about lately is now I just keep announcing your age at
Okay.
66. What are your thoughts at this point in life? Like, what? And I know it's something that, like, me, sis, like, are thinking about because we're like, okay, as like you guys are getting older.
Yeah.
Like, I wish you could be here forever. That's like a huge fear of mine already, even without Go.
Mhm.
What goes through your head?
You know, I always knew that Gull would probably have to go into a home, a group home of some sort. And I've always heard of the one, Chai is the name, those group homes. When Gull was little and many, many years ago, if I thought of that, I teared up and cried my eyes out. I couldn't even think. But of course, as he got older, and definitely the last 10 or so years, I realized, yeah, he will have to go to home because Daddy and I aren't going to be around forever. And I can't expect it of you and Talia. But let me tell you something, Lynx. When you were in high school, you
Always.
said to me, Mom, you won't have to worry about Gull ever because my husband, you used to say husband, will know that Gull's going to live with me. It's a package deal. They marry me, they get Gull. And I, as your mother, said, that is so sweet of you, Liat. But you'll be an adult, then you'll have your own children. You'll be married. It's not going to be the right thing. And of course, we do. We all realize he's got to go into a home. And I did put his name down, and we were on a waiting list for a long time. And we finally got into a high home, but it just wasn't the right fit for him. And you, even more so than me, felt we need to get him out before they've spent too much time trying to acclimatize him to it. And he had slept there for a night, a weekend of this, and he was always very happy. I don't think he realized what it means to actually move in. He was even excited to move in, but the penny dropped for him, and he wasn't happy there, and he did try run away and stuff like that the second night. And we all decided
I said,
it's
I
not
think
the right
I said, I think we
fit.
should give it now before his behavior escalates, and then we're
Exactly.
reinforcing like higher
Yes,
magnitudes.
yes. So I've been waiting for another home to open, a high home, and so far it hasn't happened.
So
I'm
now
on,
we're like, what are we gonna do? And do we need to look at other options?
and do we need to look at other options? And as you know, we thinking maybe Israel, because apparently they really are very invested in their special needs.
Like Jewish programs where Gal,
They're
because Gal's grown up in a
they're
Jewish home.
adults with disabilities. They're very invested in that. And maybe that's the best place for him then.
But I hope you know that like Gal, no matter what, obviously will always be taken care of by like sis and me.
I know,
And I
no
know that
matter
you don't want to,
where he lives, whether it's here or
whether
wherever.
it's like, even if he is in my house and I like have whatever it is, like he would be taken care of. I'm not
Yes,
that you can.
I actually do know that. But before I go, and this is where I tear up, I want to know he's settled and he's happy. I need to see that before I go. So I realized, like, you're not here forever and you never know when your time is. But we have to really get this going. I always said before 30, and he's almost 30. So have some other plan in place.
I'll tell you, like, as a sibling, my biggest fear, like, obviously, I'm like, well, what's gonna fall on me? Like, how am I gonna do this? But I like with how obsessed he is with you guys, and
Mhm.
like, I mean, like his loyalty and like love for you.
Absolutely.
My biggest fear is, God forbid, the day that like you
Yeah.
or dad go, and specifically you,
Specifically me.
like delivering that news to him. Like, I literally like have thought of that, and I'm like, I don't even know, because like when you were in the hospital recently, which like you've never had health issues, thank
Mm.
God, until like that recent hospital thing where they said like you need to stay overnight. Like he was screaming, he didn't know what to do with
Oh,
himself.
really?
So like my biggest fear, God forbid, is like,
I think we maybe need to start talk to him about it. Like, your parents aren't going to be here. They're getting older. What happens to people when they're old? I think I not need to start having those conversations with him then. Because when anyone else dies, when you tell him, his immediate thing is they're in God,
uh-huh,
meaning they're
they're
with
with
God
God.
now. But he says in God, which I
Right.
think is so delightful. I
Or
think
if he
it's so,
passes a cemetery too.
yes, or if he passes a cemetery, people in God. And he gets that, but it'll be a different thing with
Like I
one
just
of
I like,
us.
it's my biggest fear already, like losing you guys and like the idea of like going through that, but also like trying to be strong for him. Like
Mm,
I fear that like greatly.
okay. So, links, we know now we have to have these stories they called
Social stories.
social stories talking about this sort of thing
Like
with him.
these are just like the kind of thing that like, you know, I know like being a BCBA and like going into homes, I always felt like, because I had a sibling,
Mm,
like I really felt for these parents, because there's
yes.
all these like intricacies that you're not thinking about. Like maybe of like, where are they going to be? Like, are they going to feel like, you're worried? Like, is he going to feel alone in the home? Is he going to feel out of place? Is he going to
Mm,
feel safe? Is he going to feel,
absolutely.
like it's, it's,
Homesick almost.
that's why I said we couldn't leave him in the last place. Like the
Mm,
kid grew up in a kosher Jewish home. Like I would feel
absolutely.
like if I was
Mm.
suddenly being fed unkosher food when I learned, especially with someone with autism, like, who's, like, so rule governed, like, I was like, "That's cruel for us to put him in that." Like, we can't, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and also, I mean, he's just so Jewish in his soul that
Like
literally they physically, it would have been fine. Physically, he would have been okay, but his actual soul would have just been
like,
put down
and the way he just,
totally.
like, it's everything he knows, like, that is his
Mm,
comfort.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
like, you guys have such a home of, like, a Jewish home and, like, talking about God regularly that, like, putting him somewhere where that's not, that's why I just felt like
Yeah,
we can't.
no, wouldn't have been there. So,
I know that I classic Sacks family, I send out a text Saturday night, like, there's never a good time, though, I don't think, of being
yes.
like, "I decided, like, we need to right now," like, in
Mm,
your whatever years, like, as, like I
yes.
know, like, you just have, like, more ailments and stuff, you and dad, like,
Mhm.
I feel like past 65.
Yep, it's funny how it happens. I don't know how the body knows. 65, start now.
But so I'm like, "We really need to take this very seriously now." So, like, our goal is before March that we go travel and look at
Yes,
these programs.
yes. We take Gull with us. We're gonna be
Yeah,
away a
because,
while, and we're taking Gull with us, and hopefully I'll find what I'm looking for.
like, I'm going with you on this mission
Yes.
trip.
Yeah,
We are going in hot.
we are.
I wanna ask, like, obviously, like, a lot of topics of this, like, feel heavy and, maybe
Mhm.
someone going through this, like, super relatable,
Yes.
but, like, what are some blessings that have come from having Gal?
A million. I remember I did say my brother said he'll be your biggest blessing one day, and I was so angry at him. The blessing is, first of all, how you decide. Well, you decided how to go this way, Liat, and you are helping so many people by following the path in this space of people with disabilities.
That was my blessing. I mean, it gave me a complete direction in my life.
Yeah, the love he has for us, seeing someone that is just so real, has zero ego in life, and is just
Pure.
pure. He can't talk badly about other people because he doesn't have, he can't, he doesn't know how to really.
And if he does, he'll say they're fat to their face.
Otherwise, he'll say it to your face exactly. He's in the moment. He is so pure, and he has taught us as a family what is important. I feel like we are so lucky. We knew what's important in life because of Gal, not material stuff really.
Mhm.
It's your heart, your soul,
How you treat
how you
others,
treat others, just how to be in life. That's
empathy.
yep, the biggest blessing to all of us. And it's for everybody that has a child like this.
I always like people ask like about like certain things, like the way I am and whatever it is. And I'm like, a huge part of it is like having a brother with special needs or like growing up around it. That's why I'm like, it's so important to me that Kobe is like regularly around his uncle and
Yeah.
not like weird, like, oh, my uncle's weird, like whatever it
Mhm.
is. Like, even though Gal will fight with Kobe's kind of like more like laid back, won't get
Yeah.
involved. But like Remy, my sister's daughter, who's 2 years old,
Yeah.
they are consistently the three
Shouting, screaming
shouting
at
back
each
and
other.
like whether it's like Gal will be like, "You go Oklahoma,
Mhm.
Oklahoma." He's trying to say
Mhm.
Oklahoma, and she's like, "No, Gal, it's Oklahoma." And
And
he's
you'll
like,
keep on saying
"Yeah,"
it, just
and like she'll be like, "Go!" Like they're fighting. Like he will fight. He will not let Kobe play with his toys. Like there's things that he's still, and I'm like,
absolutely.
you know what? He's like Kobe and I like will be so much cooler for it. And the same way that I feel like people are like, wow, Liat, like you could talk to anyone. And it's like it did create more confidence of being like, when you're someone
Mhm.
who's confident and you're like, I don't need like when you're like in high school and you're not like I remember there was a girl who was on the cheer squad at Plano West. And she was like Miss Perfect looking. Like I think she ended up being a
Mhm.
Cowboys cheerleader after.
Yeah.
And I was always involved with like the special needs program at school.
Yeah.
And there was one guy in there who I think he was like 20 at the time in the
Yeah.
program, and I did this partners PE class where they'll have like regular like ed children, and you could like be a partner to these
Yes.
individuals in class. And there was this one kid, he was so severe, like biting his arms, hitting his head, different things. And one day I made the connection, like, oh my God, this is Jennifer's brother. Like, I've never seen her go near or acknowledge that, like, he exists. Like,
Wow.
this popular, or like,
Yes.
what is it? Who's just like,
Yes.
it's like perfect. Like, you would have no idea.
Mm.
And I was like, it almost gave me a confidence of like, someone's a cool kid if they could confidently know that they could be like, "What's up, gal?" Like, and they're the same age,
Absolutely.
right? Like, they don't have to look
Absolutely.
cooler, and it made
Yes.
me have to do that, and like, not like I'm not gonna look cool. And so like, it also
Mhm.
gave me a confidence in life
Yeah.
of like, I could talk to anyone, I could do this.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend also for anyone, like, if you want to raise a cool kid, let them see adversity. Like, take them to engage in
Absolutely.
different activities.
Yep.
First of all, you'll make that person's day. Like, if someone takes Gal out for an activity or a movie, like, he is the happiest guy in the
Oh,
world.
he's the happiest.
Like, take him out to a
Absolutely.
restaurant, like,
Yep.
expose your children to that if you can.
Mhm.
Like, it is so important, and let them see how you respond and model that for them.
Correct.
I think that's
Yeah.
something
Yep.
very big.
And look, now they definitely try and include special needs kids more in everything, you know?
Right.
It certainly wasn't in my time. So, for anyone out there, if their kid can learn to include or whatever a special needs kid, it's unbelievable.
Like,
It
if you have
means
that
a lot.
opportunity to invite them over or
Yep,
something, do it
means so much.
for the child as well as the
The
parent.
parent and the child, of course.
Okay. Now, to close out, my question is this. For anyone who maybe like yesterday got the news that their child is autistic and their world feels like it's like shattering in front of them,
Mhm.
what advice would you give them?
It gets better. It's very hard, I think, when the kids are very young and you really don't know what's gonna be or have a clue what you're in for. It gets better, it becomes part of your life as far as I'm concerned. Try also, show the time to your other children, your typical children, if you can. That's very,
I feel like
very
you were always so
important.
good at that.
I did try very hard. But do that if you can. Honestly, there's a rainbow at the end of it. It might sound impossible to you now if you've just heard and you're just being told, do this, do that, this, that, the other. It gets easier. It becomes a part of your life.
Like, so in the beginning, just like one foot in front of the other
One
almost.
foot in front of the other. Literally, it's one foot in front of the other.
The
And
one other thing I would add as advice, which I find that
yes,
some people don't know, is that,
yes.
and you could talk more about this, I don't know it exactly, is because you had some special ed teacher tell you when Gal was young
Mhm.
to get him on these lists.
Oh my gosh.
That's like an actual like practical piece of advice someone could do now, right?
Yes, this is the most important thing, and thank God I listened. When he was in ECI, that's like
Early childhood
early
intervention.
childhood, someone said, "You must call MHMR and put Gull on a list." I had
Is that
no
the same in other states, you think?
well, it's basic. I don't know what it's called. I had
It's
no
Social
idea.
Security, though?
It's where eventually, yes, they will get onto Medicaid. They will get certain government help, maybe not when they're young, but for when they're older. I did call MHMR. It stood for mental health, mental retardation. Then they
No way. It
don't
stands for
use
that
that
now.
word. They do not use that word anymore. It's now called, well, Life Path, where we live, my county. In Dallas, it's called MetroCare. I'm not sure what it's called anywhere where you live.
But it's basically like,
It's where you will get government
but that list
help.
could be like 20 years, right?
Yes, Gull was who remembers what 10,000 something then, and every year they call you and they tell you where he is, and it goes down and down and down. I put him down before the age of 3. He actually got on the list at 14. A lot of schools only tell you this when the kids are already
20.
in middle school or
Oh.
above. Middle school, above. And now it's taking 20 years to get them down to that number 1, where they get these Medicaid waivers.
And that also covers, like, if they are gonna be in a group home or they need specific
And this
therapies, and
exactly, and go like at this My Possibilities where he's at.
they have
It's paid for. This Dahab's paid for. I don't know what it would cost a month.
I can't
And the
imagine.
group home is exorbitant a month. That's being paid for. So the real help is when they are adults, more than when they are children.
But you need to just even if you can't imagine, like, my child, like, in a group home and I don't want that or whatever it is, just have the option. Get yourself on the list.
Have the option. Exactly.
That's like a one foot in front of the other at the time kind of thing.
That's the biggest advice I can give.
I know, I just always hear you say that. That's why I added
Biggest
that in.
advice. Thank you I wanted to say it. Thanks for like reminding me, because that's the most important piece of advice I ever got through everything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Mom, thank you for coming on. I can't believe that no one ever hold my hand. It's so cold, my hand. I'm literally
shame.
We have to stop mid-show
can
and get me
see.
hot hands.
They purple.
No, they're better
right
than they
now.
were.
Oh, they're better. They're better. Yeah.
Also, Mom, just while I have the opportunity, thank you for being the most incredible mom, like, through. I mean, you haven't had it easy just between Gal, let alone, like, my health issues over the years.
Yep.
Dad's cancer back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been easy. You literally are just like, and you're also, like, quiet in the background. So I don't know if you get recognized enough, but, like,
I feel I do, funnily enough.
like, you are so loved and adored by
Thank
all
you.
of us.
And I know that.
And I hope you know, Dad, like, regularly will come up to me and be like, do you know how special your mom is?
I know. I do feel.
Does he tell you that?
He does. He realizes it. Yeah. And he tells me. So I feel recognized, if that's what you're worried about.
That's what I know. You should know. I love you and I appreciate it. And I feel the
Lynn.
luckiest to have you. And any kind side of every, like, sensitive part of me is from you.
We'll keep it up then.
And with that, guys, Mom, I'm going to need your help here. Let's see if you know how to do it. That's all we have for today. You can find us on behaviorbitches.com, where you could reach out with any topic you want us to talk about, any guest, any positive feedback you want to say. We'll take it. 5-star reviews are always welcome. Write comments on our episodes in Spotify too. I love reading it all. You could follow us on Instagram, Behavior Bitches Podcast, TikTok, Behavior Bitches Podcast, YouTube, Behavior Bitches Podcast. Please go subscribe. Facebook, Behavior Bitches Podcast.
Oh, see, I don't know
But
the
that is
difference
that, Mom,
between they could be the
your
same
age,
thing.
Your age is showing.
Am I age? Okay, I'll keep quiet.
Yeah, but we are on there too. We support all age groups. Everyone's a behavior bitch at any age. And with that, that's all we have for you today. So as always, love you.
Love you. Mean it.
Good.
It's Behavior Bitches.
Hey, Behavior Bitches besties. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time and stopping and watching all of our content on YouTube. We put a lot of effort into putting these podcasts into YouTube. That means I have to get dressed for the day, do my makeup, and actually show up when I used to come in looking completely homeless to record because no one could see my face. This being said, for us to keep doing this, we live for your subscription. So please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and like and leave us comments and love. Live for the love and keep tuning in, and you'll always know when our new episode drops. Love you. Mean it.